What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to the Christian Perspectives 2004 YouTube channel. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about how Christians should approach Muslims. Now, the title of this video, yes, is how Christians should approach Muslims, but in truth, the same things that I say here can be applied for a Christian walking up to an atheist, walking up to a Buddhist, a Jew, etc. This can go for a Christian coming across anyone of a different religion or belief system or worldview. Now, if y'all know anything about me, I am very harsh on Islam, very harsh. However, one thing I want to preface, modern society would say, with how harsh I am on Islam, they would say I'm a demonizer of Muslims. They would say that I hate Muslims, but the truth is, I don't. Am I brutally honest about Islam and the issues with the Quran and the issues with what Muhammad taught? Yes, I'm going to be very brutally honest. But I don't hate Muslims. I do not think every Muslim agrees or stands for the atrocities that Muhammad committed, or that other Muslims, like the ones that committed the 9/11 attacks, stood for. Not every Muslim is a bad person. Not every Muslim is a terrorist. In fact, very few Muslims, especially here in the West, are terrorists. And to me, anyone that says, if you're a Muslim, you're a terrorist, you need to reevaluate yourself, especially if you're a Christian. If you say, I don't like Muslims because of 9/11, reevaluate yourself. Please, reevaluate yourself, because Jesus calls us to be loving, not hateful. So, how should a Christian approach a Muslim? Well, it's pretty simple. Be brutally honest. Like, y'all know me. I am brutally honest about the issues with the Quran and Islam, and how the Quran contradicts itself. Islam contradicts itself. Islam commits many historical revisionist fallacies and gets the identity of the prophets, the identity of Jesus, and so many things wrong, and even gets its own science wrong. And there's so many moral issues I have with Islam as well. I mean, I have many problems with Islam. You can check out some of my other videos, particularly the Why I'm Christian and Not Muslim video, to get a better understanding of some of these points I just made a few moments ago. But, if I ever meet a Muslim, yes, I would be brutally honest with them, but I still love them. Do I agree with their religious beliefs? Of course not. But I still love them as a person. I still respect them as a person, and I still treat them as a human being. Yes, I'm going to call out their faith, and if they make a bogus claim trying to defend their faith, yes, I'm going to call them out for that, but that's not me being hateful. That's just me being brutally honest. So it's just like, for example, you have a son, and he cussed out his teacher in school. That's wrong. And your son tries to justify it, and you yell at your son saying, no, that's wrong. That's not the parent being hateful or spiteful towards the son. Rather, that's the parent showing like, hey, I love you, get yourself straight. And there's many examples of such things happening in the Bible. Great examples would be from the book of Peter in the New Testament, in Paul's letters in the New Testament, where basically they're saying like, we love you, but get your act straight, get your facts straight. And that's how we Christians should approach Muslims. Basically be like, I love you, but get your facts straight. Same goes for if we approach an atheist, an agnostic, a Buddhist, a Hindu, a Jew, etc. Love them, respect them, just as Christ calls us to do, but also, like Christ and like the apostles after him, be brutally honest. My biggest issue with Western culture is people don't want to be brutally honest. Like, I'm from the United States. I live here in the United States. And for my whole life, brutal honesty has never been a thing here, at least in my lifetime, here in America. It's always sugarcoat, 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 sugarcoat. And then when you're brutally honest, you get attacked, you're called these names, you're called hateful, and etc., when that's just not true. We need brutal honesty. And honestly, when you're brutally honest with someone, that's a way of displaying affection and love for that person. So if a Muslim comes to me saying that Muhammad is a prophet, I'm going to be brutally honest with them and tell them that no, he's not, and here's why. Get yourself straight. Get your facts straight. Please reject Muhammad and come and put your faith in Jesus Christ. But never once am I going to, attack them as a human being. Never once am I going to call them a terrorist. Never once am I going to call them stupid. Like, never once am I going to do that. And I'll admit, I've had times where I've wanted to do that. I've had times where I've even said it in private conversations with myself, and that I've said bad things about atheists and agnostics and other people that don't believe what I do. But then I remind myself, wait a minute. I too was once lost. And never once did Jesus degrade me during my time of being lost. Never once did Jesus degrade anybody for being lost. Rather, he continued to showcase his love and his truth, including his harsh truths and his brutal honesty. And he continued to love these people, meet these people, talk with these people, perform miracles in their midst. And that reminds me, as a Christian, whenever I get upset with, say, a Muslim and say I want to call them a terrorist or call them stupid, I have to be like, wait a minute. How would Jesus handle this situation? What does Jesus think about what I'm doing? And then that puts things in a whole different perspective. So my message to Christians in this video, when you approach a Muslim, an atheist, a Jew, etc., be respectful. Share love, the love of Christ to them. Share the gospel of Christ to them. Be like Jesus. Be loving. Be forgiving. Be honest. And yes, that does include brutal honesty. But do not call them names. Do not call anybody names. And don't get me wrong, we're all guilty. of calling people names. And Lord, forgive me. Truly, Lord, please forgive me for all the bad things I've said about people that don't believe in what I believe. So when you remember to treat others as Jesus would treat them, it puts everything in a new perspective. Love them. Share the gospel of Christ with them. Be brutally honest with them. But never once do you ever attack them as a human being. For we are not God, and that is not our place. And I remember what Jesus said. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Remember those words from Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Remember them. And my message to Muslims: I love you. I plead with you. Seek the evidence. Seek the truth. Reject Muhammad. Reject the Quran. And put your faith in Jesus Christ. And become a fellow brother and sister in Christ. God bless you all, and thank you for watching.